Behind the glamorous smiles and flashing cameras of old Hollywood were secrets so dangerous they could destroy careers overnight. In the golden age of cinema, being Jewish was often hidden. Being lesbian was even riskier. Studios controlled every headline, every romance, and every public appearance. But despite the fear, these women lived double lives filled with forbidden love, hidden relationships, and quiet rebellion. Some married men to protect their careers. Others kept lifelong female companions hidden from the world. Today, we're uncovering 10 hidden lesbian Jewish stars of Hollywood's golden age whose real stories remained buried for decades. And trust me, some of these names will completely shock you. Barbara Stanwyck, one of the toughest and most admired actresses in Hollywood history, Barbara Stanwyck built a reputation as a fearless performer who could dominate any screen she appeared on. But behind the scenes, rumors about her private life followed her for decades. Several Hollywood insiders quietly claimed Stanwyck preferred relationships with women, though the studios worked aggressively to suppress such stories. During the 1930s and 1940s, the movie industry carefully controlled the public images of its stars, and any suggestion of homosexuality could end a career instantly. Stanwyck's marriage to actor Robert Taylor was often described by insiders as more strategic than romantic. Friends later hinted that she moved within hidden social circles where actresses and female companions could live privately away from public scrutiny. Although Barbara never publicly addressed the rumors, modern film historians continue examining the coded relationships and quiet friendships that shaped her personal life during Hollywood's most secretive era. Alla Nazimova, long before Hollywood even knew how to discuss sexuality openly, Alla Nazimova was already living outside society's rules. Born into a Jewish family in the Russian Empire, she became one of silent cinema's most mysterious and powerful stars. Nazimova openly surrounded herself with women and allegedly created what insiders called the Sewing Circle, a hidden network of lesbian and bisexual actresses in Hollywood. Her lavish mansion became famous for private gatherings attended by women who could never publicly reveal their relationships. Unlike many stars of her era, Nazimova barely attempted to hide her attraction to women, though the studios still protected her image from scandal. Historians widely believe she had romantic relationships with several actresses, including Pola Negri and others connected to silent film society. While the press avoided openly discussing her sexuality, whispers about Nazimova became one of Hollywood's worst-kept secrets behind closed doors. Tallulah Bankhead was wild, fearless, and impossible to control. The actress became famous not only for her performances but also for her shocking behavior off-screen. Born into a prominent family and carrying both Southern roots and Jewish ancestry through family connections often discussed by biographers, Bankhead openly flirted with both men and women during a time when almost nobody dared. Hollywood executives considered her dangerously unpredictable because she refused to fully obey studio expectations. Rumors connected her romantically to several famous actresses and wealthy socialites throughout the 1930s and 1940s. Unlike many stars who desperately hid their identities, Tallulah often joked publicly about sexuality in ways audiences barely understood at the time. Her parties became legendary across Hollywood, filled with alcohol, scandal, and whispered relationships. Though many details remain debated, Bankhead's reputation as one of classic Hollywood's most openly bisexual or lesbian-linked women has only grown stronger with time. Mercedes de Acosta may not have been the biggest movie star on this list, but she was connected to nearly every powerful woman in Golden Age Hollywood. Born to a wealthy family with Sephardic Jewish heritage, de Acosta became famous for her romantic relationships with women across the entertainment world. Her love affairs reportedly included icons like Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich. Hollywood studios considered her extremely dangerous because she threatened the carefully crafted images of their female stars. De Acosta dressed boldly, acted independently, and openly pursued women at a time when such behavior could destroy reputations. Many actresses distanced themselves publicly from her. Not necessarily because they disliked her, but because being associated with Mercedes could trigger career-ending gossip. Her memoirs later exposed pieces of Hollywood's hidden lesbian culture, though some critics accused her of exaggerating her relationships with famous women. Marlene Dietrich created one of the most seductive images in film history, but off-camera, she shattered nearly every social rule Hollywood tried to impose. Though born in Germany, biographers have long documented her close connections to Jewish communities and artists during the rise of Nazi Germany. Dietrich openly rejected Hitler and supported Jewish refugees fleeing Europe. At the same time, stories about her relationships with women spread constantly throughout Hollywood and Europe. She wore men's suits publicly, challenged gender expectations, and reportedly had affairs with actresses, writers, and female aristocrats. Unlike many stars forced into silence, Dietrich embraced mystery and allowed rumors to circulate freely. Studio executives struggled to control her because audiences were fascinated by her rebellious image. Even decades later, historians continue debating how openly lesbian or bisexual she truly was. But there's little doubt that Dietrich became one of the most sexually unconventional women of Hollywood's golden age. Greta Garbo. Few stars in movie history remain as mysterious as Greta Garbo. The legendary actress guarded her private life so fiercely that even today, many questions remain unanswered. Garbo formed intensely close relationships with several women throughout her life, including writer Mercedes de Acosta. Their letters later fueled speculation about hidden romance and emotional intimacy far beyond friendship. Garbo's refusal to marry and her lifelong preference for privacy only deepened public curiosity. During Hollywood's strict studio era, stars were expected to maintain carefully controlled heterosexual images, but Garbo largely escaped those pressures by isolating herself from the press. Some historians believe she deliberately protected her personal freedom by avoiding traditional Hollywood publicity entirely. Her sexuality remains debated, but many LGBTQ historians consider her one of classic cinema's most important queer icons hidden behind silence and secrecy. Pola Negri. Silent film superstar Pola Negri arrived in Hollywood with glamour, mystery, and endless scandal surrounding her private life. Born into a Jewish-influenced European cultural environment, Negri quickly became known for dramatic romances and controversial behavior. Yet behind the tabloid headlines involving famous men were persistent rumors linking her romantically to women within Hollywood's hidden queer circles. Her connection to Alla Nazimova became especially famous among insiders who whispered about secret relationships among silent film actresses. Negri understood how Hollywood publicity machines worked and often manipulated the press to protect herself. By publicly embracing exaggerated romances with male stars, she may have helped conceal more private relationships happening behind closed doors. Though historians still debate many details of her personal life, Pola Negri remains deeply connected to discussions about queer identity during the silent film era. Louise Brooks. Louise Brooks became one of cinema's earliest symbols of rebellion. Her sharp bob haircut, fearless attitude, and refusal to obey Hollywood rules made her unforgettable. Though not always publicly associated with Jewish identity herself, Brooks moved through artistic circles heavily connected to Jewish filmmakers, writers, and performers escaping discrimination in Europe and America. In later interviews, Brooks spoke unusually openly about sexuality compared to most Golden Age actresses. She admitted emotional and physical attraction toward women and criticized Hollywood's hypocrisy surrounding hidden relationships. Unlike many actresses who spent their lives denying rumors, Brooks often discussed human sexuality with honesty decades ahead of her time. Her independence cost her major studio opportunities, but it also transformed her into a cult icon admired for refusing to fake perfection for the cameras. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford spent years building the image of the perfect Hollywood survivor, but beneath the glamour existed constant rumors about her relationships with women. Studio executives reportedly monitored her personal life closely, fearing scandals that could damage her career. Crawford developed extremely intense friendships with actresses and female companions throughout her life, and several biographies have suggested hidden romantic connections behind the scenes. Hollywood gossip columns carefully avoided direct accusations, but insiders often hinted at behavior considered unusual for leading ladies of the era. Crawford's fierce ambition and carefully controlled public image allowed her to survive in an industry obsessed with appearances. Whether the rumors were exaggerated or truthful, they became part of the larger hidden world of queer relationships buried beneath Golden Age Hollywood's polished surface. Old Hollywood sold audiences a fantasy of perfect romance, elegance, and glamour. But behind the studio gates existed a hidden world of secret relationships, coded language, and lives lived in fear of exposure. These women navigated impossible pressures while trying to protect both their careers and their true identities. Some hid everything. Others quietly rebelled. And decades later, their stories continue reshaping how we understand Hollywood's golden age. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold Hollywood stories, scandals, and forgotten secrets from cinema history.